Welcome back, papery chums. First paper session of this new season. It's all about the transfer windows, and in a special tribute to the world of football, I've had ages to get the papers in for this, but instead I've gone out at the last minute and picked up whatever I could find, like a nice expensive German one. Sure, that'll come in handy soon enough. Anyway, main news this week, of course, Gareth Bale, biggest transfer hoo-ha since King Kenny ran off those Suarez t-shirts. Real's Bale unveiled dominating headlines right across Europe, although not, as it turns out, in quite the way Madrid themselves may have been hoping. Let's see, it all began well enough back on Monday, Marca indeed, beginning with 11 pages of coverage for the Welshman, all top stuff. I'm very happy, says Gareth on the front page, and inside they tick all the boxes, talking to both his PE teacher and John Toshak, who says if anyone's worth 100 million, Bale is. In Catalonia, meanwhile, Sport had a sniffy, he's not worth it, while El Mundo Deportivo point out that Barca's man Neymar cost half as much, scores twice as much, and got 2.5 times as many fans to his presentation. So, Marca were happy, the Catalans had the hump, everything was going according to plan. But a little bit like Gareth's keepy-uppies, things soon started going awry. AS's editorial, the very next day, on Tuesday, after the Presentación Galáctica of Bale at the Bernabeu, had this. Real President Florentino Perez is the king of summer. He's unbeatable at this kind of show. He gets headlines from here to Japan. Yes, Perez is the king of summer, but not the king of spring. Last year that belonged to Bayern, to Barcelona, even to Atletico Madrid. In fact, it's been 7 years now of Perez's presidency, and we've had just one Liga title and no Champions League. He's inherited the club of the century, but we're now dropping titles at a faster rate than since before the days of Di Stefano. Golly. Well, the problem for Perez and Real is not so much the 100 million euros, or whatever the figure turns out to be, so much as the Mesut Ozil affair. Late on Monday, of course, Real signing the deal with Arsenal, dotting the T's and crossing the I's in a very real sense, in a transfer that had voices all over Europe crying out in a great disturbance of support. In Germany, Bild talked about Madrid bullying out our player. They call Ancelotti's decision to sell him outrageous. While over in the Süddeutsche Zeitung, the editorial declares Real Madrid are a circus. Ozil declared his love for this club. He was like a man who buys a bouquet of flowers and lays the table nicely, only to discover the person he's courting is sitting elsewhere in a fancy restaurant with someone else. Got anything you want to tell us? Everything all right with Mrs. Süddeutsche? Well, in Spain too, there was plenty of dissent. 67% of fans disagreeing with the move. Bale's unveiling, indeed, on Monday at the Bernabeu, disrupted by chants of hands off Ozil. And remarkably, many of Madrid's players taking a similar stance publicly. Here we have AS again. It's the torment of Ozil, with Sergio Ramos, Arbeloa, Benzema, Isco and Sami Khedira, plus, most importantly of all, Cristiano Ronaldo himself, all criticising the move. Says Ronaldo, I am angry about him going, and after 27 assists for the Portuguese from the German midfielder, why wouldn't he be? Says AS, what's got everybody most upset is that it now emerges that the same day they sold Ozil, Real turned down a similar deal for Sami Khedira. Ozil was Cristiano's perfect partner until Bale arrived. No offence to Khedira, says the paper, but it's like they sold the violin and kept the drum. Crikey. Will Real pay the penalty for their violin conduct? Or did they mess it up in a very real sense? Will they regret, in short, the growing hole in their Ozil lair? Only time will tell. For now, though, let's finish off on a slightly cheerier note with another transfer. Kaka back at Milan. If Gareth Bale is now the most expensive player in the world, says El Mundo Deportivo, Kaka must be the cheapest. For 4 years after leaving Milan for Madrid for 75 million euros, the Rossoneri get him back for absolutely nothing. Not only that, but he's slashing his wages by 60% to do it, in another remarkable Rossoneri last-minute coup. Well, no wonder they are chuffed about this in Italy. Here's Corriere dello Sport on Monday. Welcome back, Kaka. I used to love that show. I'm back home, says the player. Gazzetta the same day. Cuore Kaka, the heart of Kaka. Finally, I'm back, he says. This is my home. And you can see all the fans delirious there down in the streets. There were one or two dissenting voices. La Repubblica, for example, they say it's a remake, and we know how those usually turn out. He's 31 years of age now, points out the paper, and if even his old chum Ancelotti can't find a place for Kaka in the team, there must be a reason. Others, though, like the Gazzetta, point out that Ancelotti is the same manager who previously felt he could do without Zola, Baggio and Thierry Henry. So their editorial says, to love Ricky now, they must first forget him and start afresh. Ricky may be 31 years of age, but remember, Pirlo was 32 when he went to Juventus, and that turned out pretty well. The paper says that Kaka maybe could play in the Pirlo role for the Rossoneri, a sort of deep-lying regista basso. As they say, while his legs are now 4 years older, he has brains and love in his heart, and those muscles count too. Yes, his love muscle could prove all the difference. Well, we can't wait to see how all those three players get on at their new sides. Of course, we'll have to wait a little bit, as this weekend it's an international break, the which will be the subject of next week World Cup qualifying-tastic Euro paper roundup. Hopefully we'll be seeing you for that in around about 7 days. For now though, goodbye.